Hello, it is Rebecca Ryan King here, and we are doing a therapy session breakdown. Now, what makes this therapy session breakdown different to other ones that I've done is I am breaking down my first therapy session with a student. And the approach is the complexity approach, and it is a 3-element cluster, which is SPL. Now, what I want you to take away from this is that your first therapy session is likely to look different from your fourth therapy session because you might have to do a bit of teaching. And that's why I really want to break down this first session because, yes, while we did get a high practice session, and I am going to outline the activities that we use to get at least 125 practices in a 60-minute session, I still had to do some teaching of the 3-element cluster. Now, what's going to help you is we are going to have a free download. So you can download this therapy plan if you want to copy this exact therapy session. You will find the materials and the activities and the number of practice trials that you can achieve in our free download. Just look in the comments section for that link. Okay. My first activity was to teach the rule. It was to introduce the idea of 3-element clusters. And I did that with a train metaphor. So basically, I had a nice little train set here, train tracks, and I had my train, and I could explain to the child that just like a train needs an engine and its carriage pieces to move, so do some sounds. And I have these flashcards because these are the cue that we're teaching. Because the child is learning an SPL cluster, I wanted to link this metaphor to an actual act of the train.
The words we're going to do today, they all have 3 sounds right at the start. We've got that engine sound, which is the sound that all starts with. And you know how a train, it can't go without an engine, can it? Like if we lost that engine, the train can't move. It's just stuck. In real life, like with Thomas the Tank Engine, you know how if no one's pulling the train, the engine can't go? So that's like our sound. So our engine sound is that S. Love it. I saw your smile and I heard your S. Now we've got these 2 sounds. So the engine sound, it joins onto 2 of them. It's got the P and the U. Spool. Okay. Now, if we forget this sound, if we forget it and there's no sound there, no carriage, the train can't go either, can it? It's just like that. It's just like, we can't go. Well, he can go, but this one's just stuck there. And I don't know what happened to this carriage. He just gets lost, okay? So we are going to be trying to remember, we're trying to pull 3 carriages.
So my activity was very simple. The child had a visual, and with all of the visuals there, we put these cards on the train track. Now, what's interesting about these cards is that there's 5 practices for each target sound. So I have 5 splat cards, I had 5 splash cards, and all we did was we put these cards on the train track and the child would say the word, and then once they said the word with all of those sounds in there, they would drive and move this target off the table.
Flat. Did you hear that one? Run over this. Say, I did it, push it off. Yes.
Now, as the child's skills increased and they were able to apply all those 3 sounds without deleting the S, we put multiple cards on the table. So it was a really nice way to get some block practice in. And because I knew that there were 45 cards here, I knew that once we pushed all the cards off, that I had 45 practice trials in that one activity.
These splats, you were so good at them. Do you think we can get 4 in a row? Okay, I'm going to actually put down an extra piece to build. Okay. Remember, we start with all those sounds. We don't forget any. Splat.
Splat.
Heard them.
Splat. Splat.
I heard all of them. Move them off. This is splits.
Split.
I heard ooh, you put 3 sounds together. Let's do it again.
Split.
Say that.
Split.
I heard splits.
Split.
I heard it again.
Split.
Splits.
Split.
Oh, move those sounds off. Ready, set, push it off.
My second activity was to head down on the floor, and because this child had, I guess, earned all of these train track pieces for moving the train and for saying all their target words, as we were building the train tracks, I was also putting down cards. Now, these are technically the same targets, they just look different, and they are in doubles. So there are 18 cards here. We were just getting multiple practices as we were putting the train tracks down and just playing with the trains. So for that activity, because it was more on the floor and where I could, I was getting like 3 to 5 trials of each of these words. I personally did not count how many practice trials I achieved, but it was a nice break from a lot of practice up at the table to go back down on the floor. With our next activity, I decided to get out my iPad and to use boom cards. Now, as you can see, my activities were really designed to get a lot of engagement in. That's why we're at the table, we're doing trains, we're on the floor, we're building pieces, and now I've got my iPad out because I thought it would be engaging for this student to have some digital iPad time. And I use these boom cards. And because this is a boom card deck that I created, I knew that there were 10 practice activities on every single page. And we went through 5 pages, so I knew that I was going to get 50 practice trials, correct practice trials, because I count the number of correct practice trials that the child does.
We did 5 pages of these, and each page has 10 opportunities of words. So the child would say splat or splinter or splits or splash. And then we had fun, like saying they're going to splash on each other's heads or splash in the clouds. And I had my cluster cues down here so that we didn't forget all of our sounds.
And as you can see through these pages, the child was basically saying the target word and then moving the picture. We had a lot of fun with it. We put the pictures in random spots, we put them in silly spots, and I'll also show you a little therapy clip just so that you can see what it can look like to use an iPad and to use boom cards in speech therapy.
Okay, let's say that word splash.
Splash.
I heard all those sounds. Who are we going to pick? Let's put someone in the puddle. Ready? I like that one. Next person. Splash.
Splash.
Do it again. I love those long sounds. I heard sp. Ooh. Ready? Splash.
Splash.
Yes, splash. All right, I'm going to pick him, and he's going to splash on her head. Your turn. All right, next word we've got is splits. So she is in the gym, and she's going to do the splits on all of these mats, okay? But we could do it funny, because I like funny stuff, all right? So can we say splits with all those sounds, starting with that snake?
Splits.
Yeah, splits. So where is she going to go? She's going to do the splits on a mat? Okay. No, she's like, I'm going to do splits on the basketball hoop. My turn. You tell me what to say.
Splits.
Splits. She is going to do the splits there. Oh, this is a splinter. See, he's got a splinter here. So we're going to think, where did he get that splinter? Okay. Can you say with all these sounds? Splinter. So he got a splinter from this bit here.
Splinter.
Hey, you really thought about those sounds?
Splinter.
He got a splinter and he's like, ouch!
Splinter.
Oh, just splinters! Okay, splat.
Splat.
Just wait. It kind of sounded like this sound disappeared and it just sounded like plat, and we know that. Oh, now you remembered it. So he's went splat, and instead of splatting the car, it splat up on the chimney.
For our last activity, we took a page from the SPL Complexity Approach packet, and one of my hot tips is to put them in these plastic protectors. It saves on you laminating, but it means that the child can also have a colour version which looks so much more engaging than a black and white version, but this protector saves your page. And we decided not to play the game. Well, I decided not to play the game. The game is a little bit of an adaptation of Connect 4, where your aim is to get 4 in a row. But because it was at the end of our therapy session, I just wanted the child to get maximum trials as possible in a short amount of time, because we had about 5 minutes. And this page here, as you can see, on the top of every single resource we have in our complexity approach packets, we list the number of practice trials on the page. So I knew that we could get about 30 practices in that 5 minutes. So the child simply pointed to a picture and they had the magnetic counters and they just covered the whole page, and then they got to get the wand and take all the magnets and pick them all up.
Splat.
Yeah.
Splat.
Yeah.
Great, you do one, I do one. All right, I can see splay. I'm going to do 3 of them. Splay.
Play.
Splay.
Play.
Oh, no. Oh, that's it. That snake sound. Splay. One more time. Splay. There you go. You find 2. Let's do the next row. We've got split. Split. Splint. Splotchy. Yes. Splutter. Splits. Splinter. You remembered that one. Good. Okay. Splits. That was awesome. Splint. Split. Great job. Amazing. Pick them all up. Nice job.
So that whole session was a minimum of 125 practice trials. And I knew that because, like I said, I knew that I had 45 mini cards here. I knew that my boom card decks, we did 5 pages and there was 10 to a page, so that was 50. And I knew that there were 30 practice trials up here. So I had a minimum of 125 practices, but we also did extra work on the floor. So that was a way that I could ensure that I was incorporating evidence-based practice by getting high practice trials, but you can also see how I change my activities up to keep the child engaged to get that high practice session. And this was a preschool age student who was close to 5. And then I was able to send some of these pages for homework as well. So make sure you go to the section below if you want to download this therapy plan yourself. You are more than welcome to adapt any of the activities that we have, but we'll have links for everything so that you can just take this therapy session plan while you're introducing the complexity approach with one of your students, and just know that you can get that high practice session and therapy is pretty much planned for you. Make sure that you leave us a comment to let us know if you want to see any other first therapy sessions for any other approaches, and I'll be happy to make them for you so that you can see what a breakdown of a therapy session looks like.